Good morning, good morning. Got a little, what would you call, redneck remodel going on, I guess, here. Enjoy the morning sunrise, although it's rose quite a bit already. Had to do some other things before getting outside. I got this old building, had put the boom back on the truck here that works off of the gooseneck ball with chains anchored through the floor down to the frame. I've showed that setup before working on other stuff. I had to run a ratchet strap around this building and then lift it up with a lift strap with a ratchet strap, pulling it tight, and move it to this old busted up concrete pad here, because I found, as you can see, termite eaten and rotten wood here. Some of the posts were just completely destroyed. This is just a little storage shed. I'm probably going to put firewood in to keep it dry because I don't need it now, but that way if I have to fix and set up a wood stove, I should have some dry wood that's not rotten out to be able to have some warmth in the winter if there's no electricity available. I took and measured out, cut the boards to be able to replace the existing ones, but still left them there to secure to. Here I run through the old softwood into the fresh wood. I obviously still need a toenail, a screw here. I overlooked that one. I put new lumber over in here for the doorway. The leftover pieces cut off the ends of the different lengths of board I used to add supports against the existing wood, and had it lifted up in the air above this old pad in order to set the floorboards down, and had them pre-screwed together because they wouldn't stay in place, and then toe-nailed and anchored all down into them. As you can see here, during termites, there was cut ants were all up in there, so just before screwing those two boards on, put a bunch of stuff to stop those ants. I'm gonna probably spray the whole thing when I'm done with it. The outside was sunk down into the ground a bit where it was sitting before, and I didn't want it to just be sunk in the dirt again, so I used this old busted up slab that other stuff was sitting on. Had to move it all out of the way for a location for this thing. And then when I get done, I may have to trim off some excess sheet metal. I'm not sure how the thing was built. I kicked around in the dirt and couldn't find bricks or anything that were underneath the original lumber that was there. For a long time, the door's been busted off of this. The board here was just pretty well gone. So the hasp was pinned on here, and I was using that for a hinge to open it to get to whatever old jugs I had sitting in it. Old rotten fuel where somebody goofed up and mixed it together. Here I've got my door frame. I'm going to have to get it squared up and screwed together. I'm going to put corner braces across here. I don't have any metal to do it with, so I'm just going to use some other pieces of boards and then a diagonal brace all the way across one way to keep it squared. And I will most likely go ahead and hinge it in place before putting the old used sheet metal that is still partially attached to the old door there. This sheet metal was down in the floor, so I didn't know how bad the building was where it had been sitting, because it covered up the sides that were all tore up. sitting over this hole in the ground that had mouse tunnels right in that area underneath it. And now I see an old rusty wrench. I wonder if I get it out of there. Maybe it's partially still usable. Soak it in water for about a month and then take it out, dry it, chip the rust off, and soak it in a good penetrating oil, or maybe some used automatic transmission fluid with diesel fuel. But time to get to work before it gets too hot, and then we'll have to unload about half a quart of mesquite into there of fallen branches, some of which were laying around for a few years waiting for me to have a chance to cut them. So just another normal day of work. But thought that might be a little helpful information for others. Here's where I toenailed these screws in at an angle, and on top there was nails. I had to knock them up, so I knocked one back down. Can't get to that one, but it's got screws all in the different locations to hold everything together there. And at the doorway, I made sure to put 4 screws top and bottom, so that board that'll be holding the door will be strong enough. And I do believe before I'm completely finished, I'm going to take at least 1 2x4, cut it just to fit perfect in there, and toenail screws into it, so this can't move either direction. And then I may move the latch for the hasp. That's kind of low, so that could let the top of the door swing out, or maybe I'll put a second one. I don't know. I'll get to it when I get to it. As you see, the lumber isn't top condition, but it's not going to stay very good for long anyway, unless I soaked it with something that's not legal to soak it with. So I had bought a pile of unused lumber from somebody that was under a storage shed, but the weather still got to it, and obviously some of it was down close to the ground. It was a way to get sufficient lumber to fix things around here, so all the good stuff I'll use for the house, and stuff that's damaged but no longer any bugs on it, no termites on it anymore, I can use for projects like this here that aren't having to rely on to live in. And I thought about building shelves in here, but like I said, I want to use it to hold firewood, and I'm also going to have to get on the roof and do a little ceiling. I may try to cut me another 1x4 and shimmy it up in there and tack it into place since that one is gone. But just a little remodeling instead of trying to spend thousands on a tiny dinky little storage shed that's nowhere near as strong as this, and using lumber that I got at a pretty decent rate, and also lumber that I wouldn't want to use for the house anyway, and then some new screws and a bunch of labor and sweat. Then I'll have to, of course, reattach on the outside. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.